This is Creating Your Encore Career and Becoming a Silver Entrepreneur with your host, Lynn Freest. Lynn will share ideas and expert advice from people that are walking in your shoes and living their encore careers, where they want and at the pace they want. You'll start a company of one with confidence and knowledge to live a fulfilled life of freedom and ease. Lynn is a coach and leadership consultant whose mission is to show senior leaders and experts how to start something refreshing and new after a full career in the corporate environment.
Welcome to this episode of the podcast, Creating Your Encore Career. And as I like to say, becoming a silver entrepreneur. Thanks for listening. Remember, with an encore career, the rewards are great. You can work when you want, work where you want, and do the work you love. So to get off to a powerful start, please contact me. I will help you develop your encore career either one-on-one or in a group program. But either way, please use the link provided to get started. This is episode 163, and it's titled, Fears and Worries When You Begin an Encore Career. Fears and worries are part of any new endeavor, and certainly they are for an encore career. Certainly as a new entrepreneur, there is no guarantee of success. I have reflected on some of the fears and worries that I've experienced, and yes, they never really all go away. But then I've also asked others, what are some of their fears and worries? And so in today's podcast, I'm trying to go through 10 of them, just to give you my perspective on them. Now, you may have others, and I'd love for you to share them so that, we can talk about it. The first one is, a person says, I've got good skills, but nobody knows who I am, and I don't know anybody. Well, again, that's inherent in the fact that you're an entrepreneur, you're launching into a new arena, you're leaving your corporate career. One, you have to, again, own your skills. But then, you're going to have to go out and find a new group of people to talk with, people that need your skills. So there is, in truth, that is something you're going to have to work on. Not only being really good about what you do, but also figuring out who needs it and going out and sort of being with a new group of people, as it were. Number two, I don't know how to sift through all my skills. I seem to have a lack of focus because I've had so many skills in my career and in my arena. And again, it's not that you have to have just one thing, but you probably want to start in one spot. You could help anybody do anything, but that means nobody really needs you that much. So it's one of those things where you really have to think about, okay, what are some of the things that either I was very proud of or that people really appreciated that I did? So think of those incidents, not so much job titles or things like that, but think of the actual incidents where you felt you had a real impact that you made, and start there. Now, as you start to work with people, they'll probably recognize that you have a wide range of expertise and skills. But it's always helpful to start at one spot, even though you think it may be a small niche. Number three, the imposter syndrome. I don't know that I've done anything noteworthy, and I just don't know what I would tell people. Again, this whole idea of it's one of those things where you have done things that are noteworthy. You've done things, you've solved problems, you've made an impact on people. So some of this is just looking for where that is. And again, you may not have won a Nobel Prize or anything like that, but you made a difference, and you've continue to make a difference. So it's the idea of, am I Tiger Woods? Am I a great golfer? Am I whatever it may be? But the world doesn't need all those people all the time. They need you. They need your voice, your particular expertise. So the idea that you haven't done anything noteworthy, again, it's a self-limitation. You have done noteworthy things. You've been here. You've helped people. You've made things happen. Number four is I have to let go of my old identity. And there may be some grieving in that. And so that is a concern. If my identity revolved around my position, my titles, where I was with my particular company, this is going to be different. You're going to create a new identity, maybe not that much different than your old one, but you're certainly going to be sharing it with a new group of people. And that can be another piece of the concern. If I let go of my identity or let go of where I was in my corporate life, will people let go of me? And some of that's going to happen. Maybe, maybe not. But it will be true that people that required you or depended on you in your corporate position, obviously they may not be the same people that need you or depend on you as you move forward in your Encore career. So some of that is true. It's going to happen. But again, you think about the ways you've made a difference in your life and use that as a focal point. Number 5, an Encore career is a new success path, but it's also a lot of hard work. And I'll agree. Absolutely. Whatever habits, routines, what you did in your corporate world, you were probably pretty comfortable with, and you've been doing it maybe for quite a long time. So all of a sudden now, this Encore career is something new. You don't have all the routines and stuff that you had and had enjoyed working it with for years maybe. Instead, you actually have to, 1, you have to go learn some things. 2, you have to do some deep thinking and reflection. So it is hard work. So it's one of those things where you have to think about this. Maybe I just want to do some volunteer work that it only involves a small amount of my time. But if you want to go out and actually have that Encore career, it is going to take some work. You are going to have to actually be very intentional about how you spend your time and what you spend your time on. Fear number 6, how will I get paid? How do I get online? Again, all these are very real. In your corporate job, you had a salary, you had bonuses, you knew where the money was coming from. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to be on your own. So, yes, you indeed will have to find, how do I get paid and how much can I get paid? Those are questions you'll have to answer. And as far as getting online, indeed, it doesn't have to be overly complicated. And I can talk about that a little bit later. There are some things you won't even try to do. You'll have other people help you do. Then number 7, I feel like I'm getting overwhelmed. And again, that's true. You're starting something brand new, and there are many things you could work on. You need to do it sequentially. Find out what's the next best step to take, because it's easy to get overwhelmed by the technology, just the sheer amount of work you want to do as far as setting up your business of one, your Encore career. But you know what? There are a lot of people ready to help you. And again, I encourage people to join peer groups or get coaching or do different things, because you can find help as you create this Encore career. Then we get to number 8. People say, I'm no different than anybody else. You do have unique skills. You might say you have your own song, your own way of doing things, maybe an interesting set of problems that you've solved in your career. Now, sometimes as you try to find your voice, some people like to write, but some people like to talk it out. And again, I think this is where peer groups and coaches can really help, because you can speak out loud about what you've been doing, and they can maybe ask a few interesting questions of you. So it's one of those things you can really, just by speaking out loud, I think, help figure out what it is that makes you special and how you can help others with that special way. Number 9, person says, I don't have a lot of years left. Do I have time to learn a new bunch of tech skills? It's one of those things where you don't have time for a new 12 years of education kind of a thing. But you know what? Learning is different these days, and you are not going to try to learn everything. Just for example, I don't know how to produce a podcast, but I have people that I hire to help produce the podcast, and they do a marvelous job at it. So that's one of the things I don't want to spend years, and it's not my skill set. It's not my zone of genius to be producing podcasts. I help people in other ways. The other thing is, I think, especially some of this maybe who have gotten used to learning in the traditional ways, man, in today's world, you've got YouTubes for everything and for snippets of everything. So as you get forward, it's really helpful if you get comfortable using YouTube and some of these other new techniques to actually learn about a skill, learn enough of a skill that decides whether you need to learn it, or it'll tell you right away whether I should have somebody else do this piece of work for me. And then the final one, number 10. People have said, and I've seen myself, I may have a roadmap, but the roadmap doesn't really fill in all the blanks as you go forward. And you may have a wandering path. Certainly I have. It's not all a straight line. So you have to take different paths depending on what's going on. And that's where people say, I left corporate life. I don't have a community to deal with my startup struggles. And I keep circling back. Well, that's the best part of having either coaches or peer groups or just being connected with other entrepreneurs. There may be a local entrepreneur community that you can connect with. So it's in conversation with others that I think you'll, one, create your own roadmap, and two, it'll help you during the ups and downs of following that roadmap. So there were the 10 fears that I know I've had myself, others have expressed for me. Hope that makes some sense. Some interesting perspectives people had. We talk about the encore career. In the context of a concert, the encore is often the best part. It's the people who are raving fans are really wanting you to do things. An encore is not just another job. It could be the best part. Don't shy away from that. Another thing is when I talk about a career part of encore, people think, oh man, I'm going to have to do this forever. And again, I would suggest, no, consider it a tour of duty or more like a project work. This is stuff, you know what, I'm going to spend 5 years doing this, but as I get into it, hey, my interests have changed. That's what happened to me. Started at wanting to help small and medium-sized manufacturing companies improve their operations. But then later on, I've decided, hey, I can help people have encore careers. Sometimes people will have new things that they want to do. So even though I call it an encore career, you're not stuck in one thing. It's more that you can do a tour of duty or you can do a project. So it's not a forever thing. Again, I'd use my own example. I started out and I thought I could help small, medium-sized manufacturers improve their business. But then as I got into this and found out more about lack of workforce, not enough talent in the world, I found out, I think I'd be more interested in helping people start encore careers where they can supply the talent that the world needs. Now, another way to consider this is a guy I've interviewed before talked about portfolio careers. And that's another way to say, you know what, I'm going to be doing a couple of things in retirement. Hey, I'm going to do this one thing, and that will be my main income source, at least for now. I'm going to be helping people with logistics or figuring out their supply chains. But you know what? I'm also going to be doing some other stuff. I'm going to be doing things with a volunteer group, or I'm going to be doing some stuff with music or anything that interests me. So looking forward, you have the opportunity to design the portfolio of things that you want to do. And maybe over time that'll shift back and forth as to where you get income from or where you just get some enjoyment from. Another perspective through my training and coaching and emotional intelligence, I've really learned the idea of developing my agency. Again, it's whether it's my own goals and things that I want to do. But in today's world, I have great abilities to do whatever I want. So I really just have to believe in my own agency that I can make these things happen. And then also along with that is the concept of being adaptable. I need to be able to try different things. But building on that, though, then you really need to start taking small, consistent steps. And the book Tiny Habits is one that I've often recommended to people. But it's what small steps can I do each and every day that keep moving me towards that goal that I want? But finally, I also want to talk about staying relevant. I have to be, when I talked about adaptable, I have to decide, how do I keep my skills and knowledge? What's relevant in today's world? For example, I learned how to program in Fortran. Some of you may not even know what that is, but it was a very useful skill at the time, and I provided great value doing it. Pretty much not of use to anybody right now. I have a good friend, Ron Lichty, that has also worked in the IT field for years, and he's roughly my age, but he has a marvelous career helping people figure out how to learn lean programming, how to set up programming in development. So he's helping people on the people side of IT as opposed to just the coding side of IT. So that's what we have for this week. I hope this is informative. Just speaking to what I've found and what others have told me are some of the fears of starting an encore career. But remember, with an Encore Career, the rewards are great. You can work when you want, where you want, and you can do the work you love. You now have the time, attention, and money to make this leap, so let me help you. I will help you develop your Encore Career either one-on-one or in a group program. And also, I'll be offering some interesting opportunities in October through a book club. And we're going to have an Encore Career book club, and you can join me. And our first book that we're going to go through is by best-selling author Mike Kim, and it's called You Are the Brand. So look forward to hearing more about the October book club that we'll be offering. Again, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.